and welcome. We're heading away for the Get More Speaker Success Blab for the delightful month of May. I'm here in downtown Melbourne, not sure where you are. So I've got a couple of open seats there, and I know I've got a couple of people on the line already, so feel free to jump on. That's going to work a whole lot better. It's been a while since I've run one of these, so this is going to be a whole lot better. So welcome back to the month of May's Get More Speaker Success Blab, and we've got a couple of people on the line, so feel free to jump on in to an empty seat. This month, we're going to be talking about travel. What are some of the travel tips? I've just come back from a month in America, and there was a few issues that happened, some that could be avoided, some that couldn't. But I think we've got most of that sort of under control. So if you, what I thought was that we could share some of those tips. So if you would like to be part of it, jump into a seat and we can have a bit of a conversation as to what's going on. All right. So we've got the lovely Sally coming online. Hello, Sally. Welcome.
Hello again.
Excellent. Lovely to have you here.
Lovely to be here.
Indeed. Hey, can you hear me all right now that I'm actually using the microphone?
Sorry?
Can you hear me okay now that I'm using the microphone?
Yes, I didn't hear any prior, so I wasn't on prior.
Excellent.
But be sure to kick me off this time because I think I hogged the last blab.
Hey, a bit of hogging is good for the spirit, you know. So, hey, we've got a couple other people out there. We'd love for you to come on the line as you're getting ready to come on the line. Sally, what is your number one travel tip?
I think it's around self-care because no matter where you go, it's about building in that time or at least building in whatever mechanisms you've got to build in so that you turn up in the best frame of mind possible physically, but also when you get home again, what have you scheduled in those first days back? And when I mean scheduled, I don't just mean, work. It's also family and assimilating back to home again. And if we travel for long periods of time, we've not just got to get back onto a time zone, we've also got to get back into a family and home zone. And I think that's a big thing. Yes, there's an external view about how glamorous traveling is, but we've got people at home that can get a little jealous because you get to fly off here and fly off there because it sounds good. But how you have those conversations when you come home, it's also how you set yourself up to turn up as well, I think, is particularly over the last 2 years, how I've really been honing in on where am I, how do I make sure my energy is up for when I land, and then how do I not go, oh, that was exciting, you missed out when I get home.
So what are some of the things that you do for this extreme self-care you talk about?
Well, it's about sleep, number one, and forcing myself into the time zone as quickly as possible. I know there's a lot of airlines that are trying to bring on Wi-Fi, particularly for international flights, and I'm almost dead set against it because I'll be pulled into working on an international flight when I actually should be resting and getting myself and my brain all switched into whatever I'm about to deliver. Right. And so getting that rest and the water, good food, don't drink, don't.
That's particularly international and some domestics here in Australia, which the people in the States who might be listening will be deadly jealous, is that there's free alcohol. Well, it's not free, you've paid for it, but, the alcohol comes out. And while everyone's going, don't drink, they're like, yeah, but it's free and I'm going to be here for 15 hours, so why not get into it?
Yeah. Well, you know yourself, I'm not your mother, but it's a case of be smart about it. Yes, you paid for all these movies and this flight and the food and the booze and whatever else that comes with it.
Yeah.
But did you pay for it, number one, or is that something the client's paid for? And how do you turn up to that client? You're an adult. You can work it out.
And
with my mother's eyebrow, you're an adult now. You can work it out.
I have to be responsible. No. I'm interested. We've got a few other people who are on the line, so feel free to jump on and join the conversation if you're available. Yeah, so it is sometimes just the simple stuff that makes a big difference. What about packing? Do you have any special tips for packing?
I have got it down to a bit of an art where I've gotten over, and this may be a more feminine than masculine, and I'd like your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten over myself about I cannot be seen in the same outfit 2 days in a row. You know, there's some little gene that I was born with that said I had to take everything, and I'm so over that now. Yeah. And it's about getting smart, and I would highly recommend, and this is for men and women, I would highly recommend getting your style and colours done, because number one, it will make you look awesome on stage. But number two, people who are trained in that are able to help you pack a suitcase really effectively, so that you've got what they call these capsule outfits, I think it's called. But you have it, like if you have a suit, then, you know, how do you mix and match bits and pieces where it's tie, shirt, bow tie, whatever, or for women it's tops, blouses, skirts, whatever. But it really does make sense. It's a huge payoff in the investment for doing it.
6 pieces of clothing and having 30 outfits because of it.
Okay, yeah, pretty much. And don't underestimate the value. I mean, for women, don't underestimate the value of scarves on really neutral colours. And a scarf folds up into nothing. Yeah. A little bit of a thing that I saw about a year ago now was a hairdryer that is a travel hairdryer. It's a professional hairdryer. Now, I know this is, sorry, Warwick, not something you need, but...
What?
But this thing, oh, okay, fair enough. Especially when you want to put the straightener through it, I get that. This is a professional hairdryer, so it is full capacity as in power, but it's tiny. It has a proper nozzle that goes with it. And the score, and I paid a few dollars for it, but the score with this was that it's got a little doodad that you swap from Australian voltage to US voltage.
Yep.
So all I need is the plug, the different prongs, but that was the best investment, because I can't tell you how many times you go to a hotel and it's a rubbish hairdryer, or it's a good hairdryer but doesn't have the doodads on it.
My lovely wife has quite extensive hair, and yeah, she would agree with you. It just, it's horrible. But I will say the new Dyson, I'm just putting the link there, Dyson has just come out with this new whiz-bang hairdryer, which apparently, I haven't looked at it, but I've got a Dyson vacuum cleaner and the Dyson hairdryer stuff. It's all really, really cool. So I'm assuming that it's going to be a whiz-bang one, and it's quite compact.
All right. I've just opened another tab for that, so I'll check it out later. So who else is going to come in and join us and tell us stuff? Do you need
I don't know. We're here. That's important. The lovely Joe says that having some kind of uniform, like I know it's a Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, some of the other people, they'll have that this is my speaking outfit that they wear. Yeah. So having that, and Jo says she's got about 5 different outfits. A man who's got many outfits, the lovely Russell Pearson. How are you today?
Hello, how are you both?
Very well indeed. Thanks for joining us. What's your number one travel tip?
I think it is actually around the clothing piece. Make sure you're aware of where you're going, because whether it's going to be hot, whether it's going to be cold, I think having, like Joe was saying in the chat, having a different outfit depending on the weather is a big one, because I get warm. I'm one of those people who sweats under the lights of a stage, and what I've gone and done is actually had some of these shirts made up in a certain type of fabric that it actually catches all that, doesn't show it, which is fantastic. And so if I'm going to somewhere tropical, that's one of the number one things that I pack. So.
Out comes the black shirt for the tropics. Yeah,
but I've got a white one as well that actually does exactly the same thing. So I've got multiple colours, obviously, depending on the different uniform I'm going to wear.
So here's an interesting thing for both of you. Are you rollers or folders? When it comes to putting your clothes into your suitcase, do you roll them or do you fold them?
I have tried different things. I even tried that one where you sort of pack it all inside itself and inside itself. That was going around. And you know, some pieces fared better than others.
Yeah.
So, you know.
What about you, Russ? Do you roll or fold?
Well, again, trying to get stuff that doesn't need ironing, which is awesome. But I do try and do a fold, single fold to keep some of the crease. And then I use the hanger, if possible, to actually prevent any damage to a whole bunch of stuff inside the suitcase. So I'm sure there's better techniques than that, but that seems to work for me now.
I'm a roller, and the reason I do it is I get more stuff in the suitcase. I very roll, baby. I very proudly went to the States for a week and a half, and all I had was my carry-on bag because I was able to roll everything up, and I stuff socks and jocks inside my shoes, which I then put in a shoe bag to protect what they're going to touch, that kind of stuff. It's just the kind of thing that I can do to. Less is more. I'm a big believer in less is more. The other thing I do is I will, hey Joe, welcome to the show. The other thing I do is when I'm traveling, I will take clothes that I know are going to have a one-way trip. And that is, you might have shirts or like when I was recently in the States, I had a jacket that had just a tiny little cut just there that you couldn't really see, but I knew that it was at its end of its life. And I thought, well, the business meetings I had weren't really that formal. So I took that jacket knowing that it wasn't coming back. And so what that meant was more room for purchases from the outlet mall. But it's like, and I've done that with shoes that are going towards the end of their life, delicates that are towards the end of their life, because they're on a one-way trip. It saves washing and can get back. So the other, Sally? I
just want to add to that also is that if you're going on a trip, then don't be afraid to pack less, but use the laundry services. It's all part of the expense. It's all part of the process. And there's nothing worse than looking at your wardrobe and while you've got a limited wardrobe and you're out of the country and you're looking at it and you're going, I'm completely uninspired because I don't really want to wear that again because, you've been in it and that's, you may have perspired in it. Use the laundry services and make it feel fresh. You've got to feel good too. And I think that's not something that's often thought of or contemplated prior to going.
Yeah. Joey, what would be your tip? You'd have to turn your volume up for us to hear you.
I had mute on. Whoops. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm learning to pack light. Every time I pack, I'm always on the limit. Like I always upgrade actually, that's my tip, to upgrade. So if you're going budget airlines, which I like to go Tiger because I just like Tiger. I think it's actually a nice airline. I like to go against the trends. But if you go with the standard, I think it's 15 kilos, that's not going to work. I'm going to be over. So I think last time I got over, it was $100 excess on the way out. So I always make sure I'm at least 20 kilos. So, and I guess Qantas, I think, is there 25 anyway or something? Something like that.
Something like that. I think
I've got 30 to go to Singapore in a couple of weeks.
I'm talking domestic, I suppose. But even then, I mean, I don't pack a lot of shoes. I tend to be streamlined, but some of the heels are heavy, So I'm learning to be a bit more streamlined. And I like your tip, Sally, about washing because I tend to hand wash in my room, But yeah, using a laundry service, then you don't have to stress about it. Yeah. I don't iron everything. I make sure like Russell, I buy things that don't need ironing.
Yep.
And I sort of roll and fold, depend a bit of a mixture.
Cool. You want to say something?
Yeah, no, just on the weight issue. My parents are crazy LD people, and so they put me onto a cheaper deal to Good Luggage, which is about getting this very, very lightweight luggage that has the 4 wheels on the bottom, making things incredibly easy to move around, and it does save you a kilo or two on the way out. So,
and
I did the same thing when I bought my luggage. I actually bought the short one.
Having said that, Russell, I'll never buy 4 wheels on the bottom suitcases again, because I've had quite a few smashed off, and one of them was my brand new Darth Vader suitcase that they smashed the wheel off, and then when they went to fix it at the very last minute, just as I'm flying out, give me my suitcase back. They went, "Sorry, we couldn't fix it. So here's a replacement bag." And so Darth Vader was gone after one use. To Sri Lanka, I blame
the high quality ones from Aldi. Warwick.
Russell, straight face.
I'm a Costco kind of guy, and I'll just get printed out Darth Vader and slap it on. So, what about this day and age, we can't travel without gadgets. What are some of the essential things that you take? Now, one of the things that I take is a power board, particularly internationally, because that way I only need one adapter, and then I've got 4, and I bought a power board with 2 USB sockets in the end of it. And the recent trip to the States, that was just awesome because we could plug in all the phones and the gadgets and whatever just from the one power board. What other gadget kind of things do you guys take, or how do you keep your gadgets under control?
I got a one of those charging blocks. You know, you charge it up and then you can put all sorts of devices into it. Now, I thought that was going to be amazing, but now with all the opportunities when you travel to actually plug in just about anywhere, I barely use it at all. I think the adapter that you just talked about is a great idea, though. Yeah, and I'll be doing that now.
But the batteries are great for a backup, you know, so when you are somewhere, you can plug in. Most airplanes now will at the very least have a USB, so whenever you're flying, you can plug in. And a lot of them have power points, so you can actually plug in. Even domestic. Some people go, oh, not domestic. You look down, it's sort of not the seat in front of you, but the seat sort of that you're sitting on. There's typically a power point or a USB down there. So that can be handy, particularly I like to listen to my own music, so I just plug in the USB to keep it charged and away we go. But you know,
I'll give you a tip on that too. If you're ever in business class, plug your phone into your cord into the USB, because on some business class seats, when the phone slips down under your seat and you can't get it back, having it attached to the cord makes it easier. Do not move your seat because you will then crush your iPhone.
So you're fixing for your own phone and the line's attached.
Yeah, so keep it, you know, plugging it in to keep it charged is good, but also plug it in so you can trace it and find it. Because if you fall asleep with the phone near you, and it falls down beside that chair,
it's messy
and expensive.
Yeah. Hey, the other thing that's pretty cool that I know some people do is if you forget a charger, you can plug in. Most tellies have got a USB. You can plug into that, and that'll charge your phone overnight. And nowadays, most people are going to have either the micro USB or an Apple charger. I know what we've done, and actually we do this just going out shopping. When the phone's a bit low, just walk into a Telstra store or a JB, and where they've got the demo phones, just unplug one of theirs and plug it into the phone and just stand there for a while. And just to get like 10, 15% of charge. But sometimes if you need to do anything low and you haven't got an option, it's a cool thing to do.
You don't miss a trick.
Well, I've been doing it with the laptop. So the laptop will do the same thing. Now, a lot of laptops won't charge when they're shut, but if you open them, start the charge, then you shut it down, it'll actually work.
All right. Cool.
That's lots of
we're loving all these tight-ass tips. How you can steal electricity.
We need to retitle this Blab to tight-ass tips.
But the other thing also is if you are travelling and you forget your charger for a phone, just ask reception either at the club lounge or at the hotel, because most of them have got a drawer full of stuff they're left behind. I've seen them open it once and there's just a ton of chargers in there. And nowadays, I don't know about you, but I've got about 6, 7, 8 chargers around the house, because as I've upgraded phones, I've still got the chargers that are still valid for the next one, or it's, you know, it's the same charger but a different USB cable. So there's always spare around.
Can I jump from there and just talk about Wi-Fi when you are traveling? And I think one of the biggest things that I've done just recently is signed up to all these hotel club things, because even though they don't necessarily make the room cheaper, one of the things they do give you is that free Wi-Fi. And so, you know, the card collection now continues, but it means I've not had to pay those overpriced fees, especially in Australia, for Wi-Fi. You know, I found that to be really valuable.
Cool.
Right.
I don't know. What about for you? How do you handle Wi-Fi when you're out and about traveling?
Just interstate, I use the phone for everything. Internationally, I have to say, I'm maybe more in the US than anywhere else, but there's Wi-Fi everywhere.
Yes.
When you get out of a major area, you know, it's a whole different story, and yeah, it's good to have. Well, you can't get anywhere anyway. If you can't get it on the phone, you can't get it on the thing. So,
what we did with our recent trip to the States is we took I've got a spare phone, pretty basic, just a Google Chrome kind of phone, and that's the travel phone. I did have one with dual SIM, which was better, but this one's only got a single SIM. So the first thing we did is we spent the $50 and bought $50 got us a month of unlimited phone calls and unlimited internet in the States. The first 2 gigabyte was at high speed and up. That was not. And so that was good. So we were connected. But what I find is the more you pay for your hotel, the less likely you are to get the free Wi-Fi. So, and we were staying at like the Motel 6, the, $50, $60 a night ones. And yep, free Wi-Fi, not a problem. When we stayed at the conference hotel, which ended up being like 400 Australian a night, there was a resort fee of $35 a day, which covered your internet and your coffee, right? So and the same happens here in Australia. And to some of the cheapies, you'll get free Wi-Fi. But if you go to the big name guys, they're like, oh, yes, that's an extra $27 a minute, or whatever it is. So that's a cool thing. But what I will say is the free Wi-Fi is brilliant. When you're traveling, what I would do is go, right, where are we heading tomorrow? Get it all on Google Maps, zoom in and sort of just scan along the path. That loads the maps into memory. So then the next day when we're driving around, the GPS will show where I am. And I've already got the maps loaded, so I don't actually need to use any wireless or Wi-Fi or any data for it.
That's
so, yeah, preloading your Google Maps is always a cracker. And just as a point of principle, I only use Google Maps. I don't use Apple Maps because it's rubbish.
Okay.
And it's like,
but even I think that's a great idea. I'd never thought about that. But even worst case scenario is taking just a screenshot of the map once you got it up, just in case. I think that's awesome. Yeah. And
I've done that because that's the other thing is nowadays when you're traveling and they say, oh, you must have a copy of your documents and stuff in case you lose your passport.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll take a photo of my passport, my credit card, and any of the important stuff and stick it on the cloud. That way, if my phone gets stolen, the details aren't on it. And I've got cloud access anywhere. If I go into the police station and say, hey, it's been stolen, here's a copy. It just works simpler. Nowadays, the cloud is so good for that kind of stuff. And having, I preload all my flights and stuff into my diary so I can just open up my Google Calendar and go, oh, it's this flight, this whatever, and away we go. So I don't use TripIt. Some people rave about TripIt and how good it is to managing flights. Do any of you guys use TripIt?
No, it's similar to you. And I'm surprised you even need to put anything into that Google stuff because it pretty much just watches you anyway and takes a log of everything you're about to do and tells you anyway, doesn't it?
Fantastic. It sort of knows when I've had food. It knows when I'm getting rid of food. It knows everything.
Knows when you've been naughty. Knows when you've been nice.
That's it.
We had an employee. We had an employee here who bought a new Google phone, and within about 3 weeks, it had synced up his entire life. So that it started sharing on his work email the photo from his Facebook profile, which was him covered in butter. So be wary of what Google will do.
Yeah. And there is that, it's very enmeshed. When I was talking about travel stuff with some of my colleagues in the States, they were talking about, I don't use Yelp, but they use Yelp a lot. Yeah. And in particular, they'll use it when they're traveling. So they go, where do I go for a meal? What's a decent place to go? And so they'll look at different recommendations. Do you guys use any services like that? Like there's Yelp and Foursquare and blah, 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 blah.
We used Yelp in America a bit, but not here, not at home.
Yeah.
And when I say home, I mean Australia, not in Australia. Because we know people and I think I'd rather just talk to someone and say, hey, coming to Perth, where do I go?
Yeah. I know for us, we used Google Maps as a search vector. So because you can do some really good geographical searches. So we knew what side of town we wanted to be at. So you search for motel, Indian restaurant, or whatever, and up they come, and then typically that links with Google reviews, etc. So doing those kind of geo searches work really well, and particularly for the motels. This is the tip that has saved me significant money over the years.
Yeah.
So here it comes. Are you ready for it? It's
ready.
One sentence. When you're traveling and you rock up to the hotel, ask the question, do you have a corporate rate?
Oh.
In a recent trip, that saved me at least 15% nearly everywhere we stayed.
In America?
Yeah.
In the States. Yeah, that's right, Russ. It's like, oh, you're a corporate, you pay more. And there's one place we went to and said, hi, do you have a corporate rate? They said, yes. I said, what do you need to do to be able to get the corporate rate? And they said, ask for it. Can I have the corporate rate? Yes, you can. And it's that simple. And some, when I'd say, do you have a corporate rate? They said, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but we'll give you 15% off. So it's like a very, very simple question to ask. I don't know what it's like here, but and again, we were staying at the pretty cheapy kind of places that we're driving around. But I think it's that as we're running a business, typically a lot of these places will have a rack rate, and then they'll have, like an airline, they've got 15 different rates they can offer. So now that, as you said before, you're a member of a club, whip out your whole stack of cards and go, which one of these gives me the biggest discount? And you're just amazed about some of the discounts that you can get.
Yeah.
That's a
Can I
great
ask a question?
Ask a question, Joe.
I mean, you guys travel to America, obviously a lot more than I do.
We're incredibly wealthy and look down upon people who travel.
You're shocking work.
Is clout score still something that's talked about? Like, do you guys ever ask what's your clout score? Do you ever use it? Or even, is it even in a conversation anymore? A few years ago, it was an issue. Like, if you traveled and you had a high clout score, then you were,
Yeah, look, and I've heard when Terry Brock and Gina Carr came into it, they were talking about how in the States, if you get a certain clout score, you get discounts on things and it has an impact. It's never come up for me in conversation. Now, some of them were also saying that when they were looking for speakers, depending on their clout score, if it wasn't high enough, they wouldn't get the gig because they want people who don't want to. Seriously, there are certain people who your clout score's under 60, no. So, but it's never come up for me in any of the travelling I've ever done.
I've never seen any evidence of it.
No, me either. I mean, it was huge, like every social media platform.
Yeah, a few years ago.
Goes, and then starts to fizzle down. And I think it's like a lot of things, with QR codes here in Australia, it kind of fizzles along and plods along. But a QR code in Asia, don't even use one.
No, it's old people. Hey, speaking of travelling internationally, where do you get your money? So when you're going for trying to get the best exchange rates, what sort of things do you do?
I'm always speaking first. I'll leave it to Russell or Joe.
I get to an area where I can find there's a number of them within eyesight, and then I just go boom, 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 go that one. I'm not too fussed really either way. It was difficult at first to get around even the tipping system and how all that works with gratuity and like. It was really interesting to see the difference in service too, going into different places where you could see the hope in their eyes. Like, oh, that's what a prostitute looks like. It was very strange. There was like, I need to give good service to you, otherwise I'm not getting paid. But at the same time, what was nice, just even on that point, I'll come back to the money in a sec, which was when I got home, there was a genuineness to the service where I didn't feel that, certainly not in the US. So it certainly is in Asia, but not in the US.
Yeah, correct. I would agree, just having come back, you could tell the difference. We went over the border to Canada, huge difference, like in terms of genuine, we care about you, we're having fun, we enjoy our job versus a slow desperation.
Transaction only.
$3, $4, $5 an hour, and they are desperate.
Yeah. One of the things I had from when we used to live in the United Arab Emirates, and we would send home regularly. So we were, like every other expat money launderer, and so we became club members of a lot of these, exchanges and whatever. And so we got lots of discounts and I've kept one of those cards. And so I can't even remember the name of the franchise, but it's expired now, but I certainly used it in order to get just a couple of points, off here, there, and the cost. It depends on where I'm going as to whether I'll exchange here or exchange there. I'll always leave with a little bit of currency.
Yep.
And then go my hardest when I'm over there. We used to have a points linked to a credit card, but we've changed our cards over just recently, and because it just wasn't returning as much as we wanted it to. And I think it's just, it costs money wherever you go. Just don't be naive to that.
And that's the funny thing is, like, for example, when we travel, you go to Europe or something, you spend $2,500 on an airfare, and then get there and go, oh, I don't want to spend too much money. It's like you've already spent $2,500. While you're here, enjoy it. I know. For me, in terms of getting good exchange rates, my experience has been, unless I go to Sri Lanka, where the family have got, you must come to this one. He will give you the best. So there's always someone they've got. But when I go anywhere else, I just take it out of an ATM. And what I find is that gives me one of the best exchange rates. I don't have to worry about commissions and stuff. I think there's typically there's a $5 fee depending on who the bank you're with. You will then get a reduction or elimination of the fee. For example, I'm with the banks I'm with is Westpac. If I use Bank of America when I'm in the US or Scotia Bank or something when I'm in Canada, I don't have to pay that fee, and I just get the cash at a really good exchange rate. It also saves me carrying wads of cash around. But as you say, Sally, whatever I bring home. And so, I've got a couple of little bags of different currencies so that next time I go, for example, we went to the States and for whatever reason we had like a couple of $100 So it was free money for us. We've already got this, let's go, and everything else is sort of on the credit card.
And it's just, I think there's a level of reassurance that if you've got just a little bit of currency before you leave, you never know what's going to happen once you check out of the airport with your bag.
Yeah.
So just to be on that safe side, even if it's about, you give someone $5 just to use their cell phone, mobile phone, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And actually, on that point before, Warwick, where you talked about the fee or the commission.
Yes.
In some cases, they don't declare that at the start. So, like for instance, if you're looking at all these different rates, you might go to the one that appears that's got the right rate, and then you're paying a higher commission on that.
Yeah, and it's depending on your total costs up front, and some of the, depending on where you go, some of the currency traders may well be less than reputable, for want of a more favourable term.
Gee, whatever do you mean?
Yeah. Hey, what about insurance? Do you guys do the whole insurance thing?
Yes, especially for America.
So
hands down, always for America.
So as a corporate person, do you get, I know some people get like an annual global insurance, just pay whatever it is and there we go, or what sort of insurance do you do?
I have found for what I do, it's much cheaper to just pay for the days.
Yeah.
Through my own health insurance. And I've also, because we have now got that relationship with, they used to be called Palmier Gallagher, I put out a little message to say, could the board also have a chat with Gallagher about any travel insurance arrangements that could happen, seeing as though we're getting professional indemnity with them.
Yep.
But I'll only pay for the days I'm travelling. I'll always pay for America. I have forgotten to pay for a couple other places in the past, but it's for $80 here, $20 there, maybe $150 for America, or it's probably not even that much. To me, I'd rather do that than a global thing when the gigs aren't confirmed, you just don't know.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
And internationally, I do it as I travel. Locally, or at least interstate, ANZ look after some of that. One good tip is for equipment. If you've got insurance on certain equipments right across Australia, you can get marine insurance. Now, marine insurance will cover you for any vehicle, which is a very good way of looking at it. So, rather than getting auto insurance or something that covers contents, you can get marine insurance, which covers you for any vehicle. So it's a good one.
Cool.
And it's like a third of the, not even a third of the price.
Yeah. Joe's asked, do we have insurance to protect against cancellation expenses? Do you guys have that?
I have had that on international flights when I've had to pay up front.
Yep.
But that's normally that little tick of the box that you pay a little bit extra for on the airline flight. But it's also built into my agreement to engage with the client. That's where I cover that insurance.
And I'm the same, so if I'm going overseas or even traveling to speak, they're paying for it. I'll give a recommended flight, but I get them to book it as well. And that covers a whole lot of that stuff. One of the things I do, sorry.
I was just saying my experience going to the UAE, and even though I lived there for 5 years and I love that region, I will never pay. They must book it. They must pay for it. They must send me the ticket, and they also must send me the hotel booking. There's a little insider tip for you.
And it's like, culturally there's different things that you need to be aware of. And I think there's been far too many scams out there for speakers who rock up and find the event cancelled, and they're lumbered with a bill. So, hey, one of the things I do for insurance is that we've got because of our home loan and stuff, we've got platinum cards with our bank, and with my business, I also have a platinum card. And so therefore there's a lot of insurance that goes with the credit card.
Yeah.
And after examining the insurance that comes with it, it actually works out that it's actually quite a good insurance program. So for example, when I went to the States, as long as I paid for the airfare and the accommodation, over 50% of the airfare and the accommodation expenses on that credit card, we were covered. And so, I paid for all the airfares and all the accommodation. And that also covers things like your travel insurance for rental cars. So if you're in a prang, it'll cover any of the initial bit that you've got to pay. So, but again, you've got to look at, asterisk, not an insurance advisor. Please make sure you speak to your insurance advisor before making a decision about your insurance needs. Personal situations may differ.
But it is PDS.
Yeah. Please refer to the PDS for a full description. So, but it is about, making a decision and looking at what's going to really work the best for you. Hey, here's an interesting story, and I saw this on, I'll name the young lady because she's put it on Facebook, Claire Edwards, who is an Australian but is currently living in the UK.
Yep.
She recently did a gig and was very excited about it and had a gig the next day, and she jumped in the car and drove to the next place, to the little town that she ended up in, unpacked all the stuff, only to discover that her outfit for the next day was in the wardrobe at the place 5 hours drive away. And she got there after 7 o'clock in a small town. There were no stores open, that kind of stuff. Has anything like that ever happened for you while traveling, where a key bit of equipment, a key bit of your outfit, a key bit of something isn't there? And if so, what did you do with it?
Russell, you want to jump in?
Well, all I can say is I learnt from that. I'm like a fly by the seat of my pants type guy, or I used to be when it came to travel. Like I can travel light, get there, get what I need, buy shoes if I need to, do all those sort of things. But I've stopped doing that now and have become a bit more professional about things, because it might just be a cord. It could be just like a connector to a computer. And you go to some big conference and there's they don't have the connection for your Apple. I now lay all those things out. I don't go to the point of actually making a list, but sometimes I do. But I lay these things out and go, all right, what else am I going to actually need to run a presentation? I think that's the biggest thing for me. And so I've started doing that in far more of a systemized approach. To give you one other example is banners are a good one. So
I hear something happened at a recent conference.
Traveling, but it could just be interstate. Or it could be within your same state, just saying, and you're traveling 2 hours to the event. You think that the right banner is in the right case, and you arrive at the event and you find, oh, that's not our banner, that's my banner. And sometimes you just need to make sure what banner is inside the case. So that's one of the things I do is I open up everything, including, even though, as you said before with the cloud, obviously you make sure a version of your presentation's there, it's on a USB, it's on the computer you've got, but I always check the computer I've got that it is on that computer before leaving. That's always a must.
Yeah. I'm similar to you, Russell. I've got 18 versions of the presentation across all parts of the globe just to be on if I am using PowerPoint. But also, one of the things I do as soon as I check into the hotel is I actually, and this links to how I sort my wardrobe, I hang everything up that I'm going to wear, I lay it all out and get really quite anal retentive about it all, and then sort it all out and get clear about what I've got to do next. And I may even, if it's a multiple day, I'm away for a couple of days, then I actually, now this is telling too much, I actually repack my bag according to the days. Because normally when I'm leaving Australia, just shove, get it in, pack it down. I'll sort it out when I get there. The usual formation for this household is my husband says, be at the front door at 10 a.m. That's what I have to do, because he knows what I'm like. But it's a case of then once I'm in that room, I then turn into some little regimented soldier and get it all very, very ordered and sorted. I luckily haven't left anything behind yet.
Yeah.
I'm thinking for me up with a little rhyme or something like Samuel L. Jackson in that Long Kiss Goodnight, where he goes, na 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 na, got my phone in my right hand, and na 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 na, keep it in my left. Yeah. I think we can go with something like that, but everything keeps getting added. We always add one more piece each time. So.
This is my rifle. This is my, this is my PowerPoint. This is my book. This is my cord, and this is my, that whatever that movie is.
I know for me, I'm a systemized kind of person. So I have, for example, I have what I call my beauty bag, which has spare contact lenses, all this stuff. It's all good to go. And when I travel, the first thing I do when I get back is reload it. So all I got to do is just grab it. The same with my laptop bag. I've got a system of certain cables always live in the laptop bag. So even when I take my laptop out to work on it, I have other cables here on my desk, but that's my traveling one. So I have this sort of system. In the same way that when I rock up somewhere like yourself, Sally, I hate living out of a suitcase. I loathe it. And so therefore, the first thing I do is completely unpack and use the drawer. I'm one of the freaks who actually use the drawers in hotels to, set it up. And it just, again, I have this process. So when I'm packing, because my wardrobe has a process of, okay, what am I taking off that shelf? What am I taking off that shelf? So I'm actually working through it to make sure that I've got everything that I need, as well as thinking a day at a time, what are the different events that we're going to and what shirts are doing what.
Is there anything you take that you probably don't need to take, but it's sort of like a guilty pleasure? You've got to make sure that this is in the bag. You don't really need it, but
I know one of the things that I take is I've got a USB with a couple of digital copies of educational videos, shall we say? Downloaded movies that I'll take, just so that, if I just need to chill out, I can just watch it. But sometimes, so many of the hotels it never plays, but sometimes I'll just take it with me just in case.
Sally?
I'm just trying to think, my husband will probably list you about 30 things.
It'll be the straightener.
They're all necessary, right?
What's that?
Straightener.
But those 30 things are all necessary in your
probably
book.
at the time, yeah. Justify every single one of them. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I know I'm not innocent, but I'm just trying to think right now. What would I take?
So I could take a razor that's probably about this size.
Yeah.
But because of brand, I take a set of clippers, because when I use the clippers, they give me just the right length stubble.
Fantastic. That's so cool.
How's that?
That's great. One must have one stubble working well.
I'm opening up far too much on this blab.
No, it's all good.
I think maybe, okay, from my perspective, I guess my guilty pleasure is taking way too much makeup that I don't even need. And the stupid thing is, this is telling everybody, this is telling Sally secrets now. When I go shopping for makeup, I actually buy makeup that you buy like the one eyeshadow color and you put it in a little compacting. And so I have fairly, according to my brand, I'll buy colors of makeup that go with the clothes that are part of my brand. But I take that in my luggage, but I'll take the 17 other eyeshadows, the 4 mascaras, the 300 lipsticks, the 7,000 lip liners. So that's probably the biggest ridiculous overpack, over guilty pleasure I'll take.
Oh, that's great.
And again, it depends on what you're going to. I know for more social things, I like to just throw in Cards Against Humanity because that is such a good thing to do, but less used for business trips. So, but it is what it is. Hey, here's another tip that I like to use whenever I'm traveling, particularly international, is I love to have a shower in the lounge. So if I'm going somewhere that's got to stop over in Singapore or LA or whatever, I nearly always take a second pair of undergarments and maybe a fresh shirt, so that I can have particularly when you've done like a 13-hour leg or a 15-hour leg, it's great to just stop and fresh. Now, some people will say, oh, yeah, but I'm not a member of a lounge. Fear not, because there are ways you can get access. If you have an American Express card or a credit card with American Express, some of the benefits are that you get 1 or 2 accesses for free to there's a chain of lounges that are not airline connected. Or some of them, like Delta, I think if you go to Amex, you can pay $28 and get access to the lounge. And some, like Qantas Club, I think you can just pay to join Qantas Club, which then give you some reciprocal rights, different places. I'm a big fan of the lounges. And I also like, because we fly so much, typically we are going to be at a level, be it gold, platinum, whatever it is with an airline. Man, that makes a big difference. Just like not having to wait in queues to board, not having to wait in queues to check your stuff in. So there is something to be said for loyalty to an airline to get that particular benefit. One of the issues with Virgin, because I fly Virgin most of the time, is that the airline, they're not part of like Star Alliance or anything. They've got individual agreements and their systems don't talk to each other. So I'm a platinum member of Virgin, but when I was flying Delta, they didn't give a stuff whether I lived or died. Whereas I know once before when I was Emerald or something with Qantas, when I'd fly American Airlines, they still respected that and was early boarding and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, and Virgin here in Australia, you can, if you're not even a member of their club, but you've got a Virgin card, whatever it is, you can pay on the day and use their.
Yeah, and it's only like $5 or $10 or something. It's not a massive amount.
No, it's a bit more than that. I think I paid 50. But it was worth it because I had hours due to a change of meetings and stuff. I had hours, so it was awesome to be in there. I had the same experience, except in America, we paid to use Delta, and we just basically handed money over for no reason. The Delta Lounge at LAX. Keep walking, people. Just keep walking.
How long ago was that for you?
That was the DC trip last year.
Really? Yeah. Oh, whereas I found it was okay, and I still used it again. So
there's another Delta Lounge that I don't know about.
There, shoppers. So all right, hey, we might wrap this up because I think we've covered quite a lot, and there's been some good stuff. What's one last travel tip that you want to hand off to the world?
When you are packing your suitcase, put everything on the bed or on the bench or wherever beside the suitcase, and then take out at least one outfit and put it back in your cupboard.
Less is more.
And take out half the makeup.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm going to take that one on from now on. I always put too much makeup in the bag.
Yeah. It goes with the shaving and the trimming, mate.
Absolutely. Very pretty.
And look after yourself. Look after yourself when you're going there because your client's paid for this.
Yeah.
Your gig, sorry I interrupted you and jumped in on you, Russell. The gig starts, before you actually stand in the room. You know that. So remember that. Even though you can get wrapped up in the excitement of being on a plane, free food, free booze, free movies, whatever, you're working. And so look after yourself in order to deliver the best.
Yeah, and I guess on that point, obviously, if you can, get there the day before so you can give yourself that time to prepare and decompress before you actually have to perform. That would be my number one.
Yeah. My thing is give yourself a couple of days after you get back. I've just come back from a month in the States and it took me ages to just and it wasn't so much jet lag, but it's because a little bit of it was work and a little bit was sort of holiday. It was just to get back into the scheme of things. So having a couple of days was pretty cool. And I'm a big fan of rush to wait. So if I'm going for an airline, I'll get there early. If I'm going to, and it's paid off so many times. Like the time I got a flat tire on the way to the airport because a big chunk of steel ripped through it. That was fun. But hey, 12-minute tire change at the airport on time, white shirt and everything, but got it all sorted. So
now, before we go, Joe, do you have a blab on after this? I think I saw something, but it might be next week.
Jump on, tell us about it. Go
Joe?
In 10 minutes.
Preparing for it in 10 minutes, but I thought that this audience would find it interesting.
Yeah.
I think I've subscribed.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I subscribed to both of these live events for it because there were two.
Was it?
Yeah. So someone's sitting somewhere going, when's Warwick getting here?
Yeah. And Joe's not coming on. She's pulsing the window, which sounds worse than it.
Joe's just said yes. So.
Okay. So she has one on. So she's trying to. I'm going to kick you out again, and then see if you can come back in again.
Yeah, go and prepare your one, and we'll visit you shortly.
Yeah. Awesome, big blab day.
Oh, we love a blab. So All right, something's not happening. Sorry, Joe.
Right.
Hey, this has been recorded. It's going to be on the Get More Speaker Success website, getmorespeakersuccess.com. And so anyone who's watching, you want to look at some of the back issues, we've got a few there, except for the one I forgot to press record on. And every month we will have a conversation about speaking tips to get more speaker success. Hey, thanks, guys, for coming on board. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Can I just add, Joe's added a tip that she packs a spare outfit in her backpack in case things get lost. So that's a mother-in-law tip, just in case things are lost. So there you go.
Spare outfit.
Very good.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for being here.
Bye.